if I told you that the creatures of myth and legend, the majestic fire-breathing dragons, weren't just stories? Imagine waking up one morning to the news. Dragons are real, and they've come back. Not in a zoo or a lab, but swooping through the skies, setting forests and cities ablaze, and asserting themselves as the apex predators of Earth. It sounds like something out of a movie, but let's break it down. What would it really mean for our modern world if dragons returned? First, let's talk about their sheer size and power. Dragons, as described in myths, are no ordinary creatures. These aren't just oversized lizards. They're towering beasts with wingspans rivaling commercial airplanes. A single dragon could level a city block in minutes. But here's the kicker. How would we even deal with creatures that breathe fire hotter than molten lava? Forget fire trucks or even military-grade equipment. We'd be facing a whole new level of destruction. Now, before you think, well, we'd just use missiles, consider this. Dragons are no fools. Myths describe them as intelligent, almost cunning creatures. They wouldn't just sit on a mountaintop and wait for us to attack. What if they struck first, targeting military bases, communication centers, or even nuclear plants? Suddenly, humanity's advanced technology might seem woefully inadequate against these ancient beasts. But let's rewind a bit. How could dragons even return in the first place? Could they have been lying dormant beneath the Earth's crust, waiting for the right moment to resurface? Or could they be the result of genetic experiments gone wrong, where scientists tampered with DNA to resurrect ancient creatures? Maybe, just maybe, they've been watching us, hidden in another dimension, waiting for the time when humans are most vulnerable. If dragons returned, the first thing we'd notice isn't their fire or fury. It's the chaos. Social media would explode with blurry videos of winged shadows crossing the sky. Conspiracy theorists would lose their minds, and government agencies would scramble to figure out how to respond. And while we're busy arguing whether dragons are real or another elaborate hoax, the first cities could already be reduced to ash. Here's a scary thought. How would nature react? Dragons wouldn't just challenge humans, they'd dominate ecosystems. Imagine a dragon perched atop a mountain, its presence causing wildlife to flee for miles. Crops scorched by their fiery breath would lead to food shortages. Apex predators like lions and bears would be no match for these creatures, completely disrupting the balance of nature. And don't even get me started on the effects of their fire on the atmosphere. Massive smoke clouds blotting out the sun, leading to a new kind of climate crisis. But here's where things get really interesting. Would all dragons be hostile? Myths from different cultures tell varied stories. In some, dragons are destructive forces to be slain. In others, they're guardians of knowledge, treasures, or sacred places. What if some dragons allied with humanity, offering their wisdom, or even their power, in exchange for protection? Suddenly, the world wouldn't just be at war with dragons, it'd be at war with itself. Humans would turn against one another, fighting to control or ally with these mythical creatures. Speaking of alliances, let's talk weapons. Traditional guns and missiles might barely scratch a dragon's scales. In myth, their armor-like skin was nearly impenetrable. We'd likely need to invent entirely new technology to combat them. Think plasma-based weaponry, drones designed to outmaneuver dragons in flight, or even bioengineered creatures created to fight fire with fire. But here's the catch. Would creating these weapons make us just as dangerous as the dragons we're trying to stop? Now, let's flip the script. What if dragons didn't just fight us, but tried to rule us? Imagine dragons taking over key territories, demanding tributes like the old stories. Entire cities might offer gold, livestock, or even people to appease them. It's a horrifying thought, but history shows us that humanity's survival instinct can push us to extremes. Would we bow to their rule, or rise up in rebellion? Then there's the question of survival. What kind of world would we leave for future generations if dragons became a permanent part of the ecosystem? Would humanity retreat to underground bunkers, building a civilization below the surface while dragons dominate the skies? Or would we find a way to coexist, adapting to a new world order where fire-breathing beasts are as real as the planes and skyscrapers we once marveled at? Of course, with dragons comes treasure, or at least that's what the legends tell us. Could their return spark a new gold rush? Adventurers and opportunists might risk everything to track down a dragon's lair, not to slay it, but to steal its hoard. But here's the twist. What if that treasure wasn't gold at all? What if dragons' true wealth was knowledge, secrets of the universe they've guarded for millennia? Would humanity's thirst for power and answers drive us to try and tame these creatures, no matter the cost? And then there's the ultimate question. Why now? Why would dragons return after centuries, if not millennia, of absence? Could it be that we've reached a point in our history where their return is inevitable? Perhaps they're nature's way of hitting the reset button, a reminder that humans aren't as invincible as we like to think. Or maybe, just maybe, dragons are here to test us, to see if we've grown enough as a species to coexist with something greater than ourselves. In the end, one thing is clear. If dragons returned, our world would never be the same. Entire nations would rise and fall, not by the hand of man, but by the claw of dragon. The skies would no longer be ours. They'd belong to creatures that defy everything we thought we knew about reality. And humanity's greatest challenge wouldn't just be survival. It'd be finding a way to adapt, to thrive in a world where fire and fury reign supreme. If this thought experiment has ignited your curiosity, hit that subscribe button and join us for more dives into the impossible. From dragons to aliens, the mysteries of space to the depths of the human mind, we've got plenty more questions to ask and maybe some answers to share. See you in the next video.